We are wrestling. We are wrestling podcast.
They give a shout out to We Are Wrestling on YouTube.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling.
What's going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Ben here, the third of the talk show.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling, man. Episode 69. Can you guys believe it?
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, 1/3 of the podcast. Guys, we have an exciting episode ahead for you guys. It's going to be a real fun, nice little back and forth talk with the gents. But before we get into all those topics and everything, in a great episode 69 of We Are Wrestling, Don, take it away.
You said episode 69?
Episode 69, stepbrother.
Yeah!
Where is it? Yeah, dude. Episode 69. Let's get it, buddy.
To all the listeners out there that didn't just see what I did, I just had my two acclaimed scissor foam fingers scissoring each other for 69. But before we get into this week's episode of the show, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to the podcast, don't give us a 5-star review. Give us a best one review and download the episode. But if you're watching this, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
believe it or not, this week, 14 years of content creating for me.
Hell yeah, man. Congratulations. It is a rough road out there, man. It is a rough road. So I commend you, dude. It's been YouTube's a journey.
I think we all started, a couple of years. Like maybe
off
2,
of each
3
other.
years. 3 years before each other. I started in October of 2010. Donnie, I believe you started in, 2009? Ben started in, 2007.
I started August 8th, 2009.
Fuck yeah, man. I started December 12th, 2008. So I totally get that shit, dude. Yeah, dude. Tell us about your journey, man. What were some of the highs and lows? Like, what was it like throughout the 14 years of content creating? What did you discover about yourself?
So I was inspired to start content creating at a very young age because my older cousin, Trevor, he did, videos with his friends back in the day on a channel called Bover Productions. And I was very inspired by that. So then that made me decide to start making skits, which would later turn into, original web series. And I would make videos, with my friends, my family. And from there, I just started getting addicted to this. And now, I'm talking about pro wrestling, the thing that I love with you guys, and still 14 years strong, man. It's great.
Yeah, dude. I think we actually roughly, excuse me, we roughly had the same kind of start, with content creation. We tried out some skits, acting things, doing more group projects and stuff like that before we really got down to the singular route, and eventually found out what we wanted to do. And here we are 14 years later.
Absolutely crazy. And to all the We Are Wrestling maniacs that are listening, that are watching, we recommend you guys to go check out all of our personal channels, because not only do we cover pro wrestling here on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, but we also have our own ventures. I do toys and, collectible videos. I do basketball content. Ben and Danny also do music reactions as well. And we're really on the grind, guys. So go out there and support small creators. That's
Hell
the
yeah,
message
man.
for the beginning of this episode.
We're the future.
But
Exactly,
over the weekend, we had a live WWE SummerSlam 2023 watch along, all in person, and what a time it was.
It was a great time.
I was so irritated by the end of it, though. Like, I was just so irritated just by, like, I felt really just fucked over by it, Like, but at the same time, now that I've had some time to digest it and really kind of, let the juices simmer a little bit, really look at what the bigger picture has to offer, look at the more internal side of these matches and what they meant going forward. I can't say that it was a mid show. It was definitely a little bit above that, but it also wasn't great. There were some high moments. There were some lows, but all in all, it wasn't a bad show. I am surprised some of the records that it broke, though. 100% surprised, but the numbers don't lie. So, I mean, I can't really go out on a limb and just say that it was a mid show and just trash it, but there are some concerning points.
Yeah.
Absolutely well said. But Danny, what was your thoughts on SummerSlam this year?
I liked a lot of the stuff on it, but I would be lying if I didn't think the show was overhyped for the kind of quality that it was.
Bingo.
Like there was a lot of good stuff on it, but there was a lot of stuff like that. The matches like for instance, Ronda and Baszler, very mid. Drew and Gunther, even though it was a good match, part of me doesn't think it was necessarily pay-per-view worthy. Like
No.
Yeah,
I'm
I have to
with you
agree.
on that one.
I have to agree. Yeah. Wow.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me
blending.
wrong. Like Drew and Gunther are two fantastic performers.
Top tier.
But it seemed like the way that they set the match card up, that's why it wasn't as good as it could have been. I felt like the timing was off on every match except for that opening match with Ricochet and Logan Paul.
That was a phenomenal way. Like, that's what made it so promising, and I think that's another reason as to why I was so fucking irritated by the end of it. Like, I was clearly irritated. Like, I tried to conceal it as much as I could, but I was just fucking irritated, dude. Like, WWE just botched hellaciously on their fucking tribal combat rules. Like, nobody can fucking interfere until the match is over. That went out the fucking window twice. Like, it makes no fucking sense. So I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah, like the thing I didn't like was how Solo Sikoa got involved, but then nobody comes and helps Jay. Like, why did Sami Zayn come out and help Jay? He got physical on Raw despite his injury. He should have been out there helping Jay. They've had that close relationship that they have built for over a year.
But didn't Sami Zayn recently say, whether it was an interview or whatever, that he wasn't going to get involved anymore because Jay wasn't listening to him? I swear there was something like that. He
still should have gotten involved because he still doesn't like the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Yeah. So
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Sense.
But the thing is, like, part of me understands, and then part of me, I do partly agree with you. I do feel like somebody should have, helped out Jay or whatever. I feel like
should have been Cody just for a tease.
With the bloodline sort of running WWE, primarily SmackDown. I feel like a lot of feathers are ruffled with them, and with them being like the sole focus of the show. But I also understand why Sammy or KO. Obviously, KO has a little bit more of an injury than Sammy does, but I understand why Sammy didn't get involved, because then it would have just been recycling the same shit. Like, how many times do we need Sammy involved with the bloodline? I would like for them to do something else.
But you see, here's my problem now. I understand where you're coming from, but what has Sami Zayn done since the
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And that's
There-
the problem I have, man. That's the issue I have. All that
Bro.
momentum that they have built for Sami Zayn has started to slowly fade away.
Bro,
Yeah, it's deteriorated
Sami
like,
Zayn-
significantly.
Kevin, Sami, and the Usos, for the first time in WWE history, the tag team titles main event at WrestleMania. And they have done absolutely nothing after that. They had the world by the fucking balls, man. And the WWE creative team couldn't come up with any kind of creative idea for them as a tag team.
And
It's
I'm not going to lie,
pointless.
man. Speaking of the tag teams, I know I've been saying this a lot. I think for once, I do want 2 different tag team champions on both Raw and SmackDown because we're starting to see the effects of having only one title. I think that the tag team divisions on both brands are actually pretty good for once. And I feel like we need to, now that Sami and Kevin are hurt, we need to strip the titles off of them. And we need to have 2 separate championships on both brands. Do
The
a
brand
tournament
split-
or something. That would
Exactly.
be a great way to do it.
The
brand
brand
split doesn't
is it's not going to mean shit, and I'm not going to believe it means shit until those titles get separated. I'm
And
not
new
going to.
designs too.
If they get separated, then I'll start believing it. But they're not. As long as they're together, there's no such thing as a brand
The-
split. It's
the
already
brand-
going on with fucking Dominic Mysterio. Like it's already going on
LA
with
Knight
fucking
showing up
LA
on
Knight.
Raw and
Yes.
SmackDown now.
Ex-
Dominic's on all 3 brands. That
They
pisses me off
want-
about the draft because this
They
year
want
the draft, it was so promising. The draft was so promising this year. I love the free agency thing, and then basically it's all down the drain.
that
Off.
they want, from what I've read, I think Meltzer and Mike Johnson put out an article about this. WWE is going to have Judgment Day on NXT for the foreseeable future because they want to get better ratings than AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays.
So yeah, the draft doesn't mean shit, basically.
No, it doesn't.
But
And
So
now,
Judgment
you
Day's
know,
on
I-
Raw
I do
and
wanna-
NXT.
They're on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT pretty much.
They're afloat. Okay.
Yep, that's basically what's been happening, man. But I want to give my thoughts on SummerSlam real quick.
Do it up, bud.
I think, some of the matches were very good. Other matches were a little bit lackluster. I will say the ending of the show, I knew it was going to happen, which I think is why I wasn't as surprised as, I thought I was going to be when it happened.
I just sat there.
Logan Paul, Ricochet, that was fantastic. Also, I feel like this show lacked stipulations, which is why it was a little lackluster. Brock Lesnar and Cody, they should have had a stipulation.
The ending was fucking phenomenal.
Shayna and Ronda Rousey. Do not get me wrong. I respect that they
Should have been
tried
a
to do
fight
something
pit.
different. It should have been a fight pit, like you said, Danny.
You could have
was my
done.
issue.
You could have had the MMA rules inside of the fight pit. It would have made a lot more sense.
Honestly, very true. And I think that's why this show is lackluster. There's a lot of hype around it because, of course, right now, WWE has a lot of momentum. The Bloodline is the hottest angle in all of pro wrestling. So that's like what really drove this show. Also, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, they had a great feud. The storylines leading to this show were fantastic, which is why there was a lot of hype around this premiere live event. But unfortunately, with the show, they really lost that momentum. I don't know what it was.
Exactly. The stories leading into a show can be phenomenal, but if the execution is not there,
It's gonna all mean nothing.
pretty
But
much. And it should have fucked this Slim Jim Battle Royal
No,
bullshit.
I was actually about to say, a show is lacking something when that was my favorite part of the show because I was just stoked for LA Knight. I was just stoked to watch LA Knight
It
perform.
was literally the Battle Royal, LA Knight and the freaking catering jabronis.
It should
And
have
honestly,
been.
I enjoyed it though because
I
I
should
love
have
the
too.
Rumble, so I enjoyed it. And seeing him get a huge pop in SummerSlam was incredible.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
it still should
but
have been Theory versus LA
They
Knight.
should
That
have
should
had a
have been.
feud with. They should have had a feud between LA Knight and Theory going into SummerSlam and have
him taking the
LA
strap.
LA Knight take the belt. The
Yeah.
good thing about the Battle Royal is LA Knight won, even
Yep.
though the win didn't necessarily mean shit. He got momentum, whatever the fuck.
Which is
that
good because I'm
means.
stoked for his fucking feud with Miz. I'm actually really
Yes.
stoked on it.
Me
I'm
too,
stoked
man.
on it.
I am
especially-
too. I am too, but he's not a Raw superstar, bro.
I
How are
don't
they gonna?
fucking-
How
Bro,
are they
Here,
gonna talk?
wait, hold
all
on,
I
hold on,
care
hold on.
about-
Can I tag myself
He's
in?
getting a push. Yes.
All right. So this is exactly what I was saying in my reaction video, Danny, with the LA Knight and the Miz feud. I loved it. I was very invested in it.
Yes.
But my problem is LA Knight is supposed to be on SmackDown. So what do? Here's what I think they should do.
Okay.
We need to do a trade. We need to get the Miz over to SmackDown because that's where Grayson Waller is. That's where LA Knight is. And I think having the Miz and Grayson Waller.
Let him cook. No, Danny was about to say something.
Having Grayson Waller and the Miz together would definitely be a great thing, especially for this feud with LA Knight. And I think that only makes sense because you can't realistically put LA Knight on Raw unless you're going to do a trade Cody Rhodes for LA Knight because they're both big stars. So it wouldn't make sense.
That'd get him close, but I would say it would get him closer to Roman.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say they could have a trade LA Knight to Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes to SmackDown, and they can have a feud going into the fall, leading into either the Rumble if Roman really does, if the reports are true and Roman does want to drop the title before Mania, you could do it at either Survivor Series or the Rumble. You know,
the Rumble would be gnarly because that's a whole new story.
All right, I'm going to say this real quick before we dive into the highlight of the weeks.
Yes.
Speaking of Survivor Series, I want to be the first one to put this out there on the We Are Wrestling channel so that nobody could take credit away from me. Cough, cough.
Oh, God.
Somebody better clip this. Fuck you, man. I'm the one that said Jimmy was going to turn on his brother. I said it.
Not according to Angelo.
2 weeks ago, I said it.
But
You're
here's
welcome.
the
Not
thing.
according to Angelo.
But you see here, that's the thing, Danny. I get the credit for that because you left the podcast during the predictions. You missed your prediction on that. So I got the credit for it. So fuck you.
It has nothing to do with the predictions, bro. I said it.
The
I said it 2 weeks
toxicity
ago.
is bleeding right now.
Remember when we were talking? I can't remember if it was on the podcast
He's
or if it
pulling up
was
the
on
receipts.
Facebook. I said because when Jay was on SmackDown cutting the promo 2 weeks ago, he was mentioning his brother a lot, and I was like, bro, what if Jimmy turns on his brother? I said that on the Facebook chat.
I think
Angelo had it. Donnie had it.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. I'm not gonna play the game who said what. I feel like that took away from the reaction.
Yeah.
I think Danny and myself, we both had this prediction in mind. I don't think I took it from Danny. Danny didn't take it from me. We both watched the show, so we were paying close attention to SmackDown with what was.
I can't see that, Dan. So I feel like Jimmy's gonna screw Jay at SummerSlam, July
14th.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you go back to like one of my reactions that was a while ago, I was saying that Jimmy was going to turn on Jay. So I think here's where I'm going to, draw the line here and conclude this argument. You and I both watched the shows, and I think we both saw it.
We're both right. We're both right, man.
We're both right, exactly.
Fucking God, are we actually getting a resolution in the same episode? My fucking TV is getting so much more brilliant. There's a chance. Oh, God.
Danny and I were both right, and it seemed like we both were on the same page for like most of the night. Our predictions were exactly the same, which, by the way, over on our social media pages, for the first time ever, We Are Wrestling posted our predictions over there, and we all were 7 for 8 on the show.
Yeah, boy.
And we both did a fantastic job predicting LA Knight would win the Battle Royal, which was obvious. And we even predicted Io Sky was going to cash in the Money in the Bank.
All of us,
which is definitely a wild card.
I really want to say this, and I don't want people to think this is me being toxic or whatever. But one thing I really can't stand about WWE is the predictability. Like you can
I'll give you that. I'll bite.
In certain matches, you can clearly tell a mile away who's going to win.
You know what I miss? I miss when people that had the briefcase would wait dumb fucking long and wait for the random opportunity to just fucking cash it literally anywhere. Like the last minutes of fucking SmackDown, someone takes it out of nowhere. Like I think Ziggler did that, right? On a SmackDown, the end of the show.
Nope, Ziggler was the night after WrestleMania.
Yeah, so Monday. So that Raw, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so like he did it at the end of Raw, like randomly. Like I miss that, dude, where people would have the briefcase and hype it the fuck up. It feels just like random ticket now. Like, I wish she would have waited, you know?
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, too, like you go back and you do some research on Money in the Bank cash-ins. Edge, the first winner, cashed it in January at New Year's Revolution.
And he got that shit in
2006.
Mania. Yeah. You know,
Seth
I missed
Rollins,
that.
he cashed it in at WrestleMania, which never happened before, which I'm surprised. Only one person has done that. But the women's Money in the Bank, it feels like they try to get rid of the briefcase as soon as possible.
I hate
So I
that shit.
definitely see where
Am I the only one in agreement here that thinks the only two champions in the entire company that actually feel very deserving is Rollins and Gunther? Because nobody else just seems to be coasting. They don't seem to be doing much.
Those are two prestigious titles, I will say, and two prestigious people that have them. Roman's obviously like unspeakable. We're not gonna fucking talk about that. Yeah, I agree, but everybody else needs to step the fuck up. I mean,
Yeah.
Rhea, I will say, is killing it too. I mean, she's definitely going a more Roman Reigns route, which I kind of hate, but at the same time, it still feels prestigious on her because she's a part of such a big faction, and she's the 10th wonder of the world at this
I
point.
just feel
She's
like-
the next China.
I just feel like
So-
they need to put her in some feuds, man. They have so many women that they don't even have on television.
You know what I
I
like
know.
about Rhea
Oh,
right
100%.
now?
What up, bro?
Here's what I like about Rhea.
Her versatility.
understand
By the way,
finally.
She's the
congratulations
World
on her
Heavyweight
engagement.
Championship. Oh,
Yes.
yes, congratulations.
Congratulations to Rhea and Buddy Matthews.
That's right.
It's a dub for both
And-
companies.
Yep. And it's a dub for Dom, too. They get to share him and
Oh.
Buddy.
Dom's getting cucked.
Yeah, he's in the middle.
Okay, so here's
69.
episode 69.
I love you guys.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
keep going.
Oh, yeah. So that's the thing, like, I do want to say about the whole, SummerSlam show. It was just lackluster. I think that the build was great,
Overhyped.
but the show, it was definitely overhyped. But now let's dive into the highlight of the week.
All right, so my highlight is very shallow. Well, I mean, not shallow. That's a really bad way to put it. It's very, I guess you would say, lower in everybody else's light. But again, at this point, I'm simping. LA Knight. I'm really into the feud with Miz. I'm really into how big this dude is becoming, and like the fact that he's finally getting a good storyline against somebody who is very established as the Miz, who's a pro in anything he fucking does, the person you love to fucking hate, who was literally, I guess you could say, the original LA Knight, you know? So now you got LA Knight as a baby face, which is really fucking sweet because the dude has charisma just radiating off his fucking shades. Like, the dude is just, again, the best way anybody's put it, the dude walks like Austin, talks like The Rock. He really has it all. And to finally see him get a storyline feud leading to something, you know, something that was really going to fucking push him and push him even further to more main event status. Somebody as The Miz is everybody's first step in as you got this. Like, you if you get a fucking feud with The Miz, you know you have the open door now. The road's yours. Pave it. Like, this is his chance. And I'm super invested because they're both fucking talkers. And I love that shit. They both run it on the mic. And again, LA Knight is like the hottest thing, really, singularity in pro wrestling right now. Like, the Yeah movement is fucking chanting in AEW. Like, the dude is
Worldwide,
so
man,
hot right now. Everywhere.
Yep.
So I'm stoked for it. So that's my highlight, is just seeing this dude fucking prosper even more. 100%.
You know what I got to say about that, though, with The Miz and LA Knight?
What up, fam?
Where the hell has this Miz been?
Yes, he has been
so
missing it.
Good on Raw, and I think LA Knight
Did
definitely
they
brought out
ever-
the best in him.
Did they ever finish the feud between him and Tommaso Ciampa, though?
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
lackluster.
Yeah, it was lackluster. Ciampa beat him, and they moved on. Miz was
Yeah.
jobbing for a while, so this is why I kind of like the way that they presented him on Raw.
And
Because
it's
when
two
you
good
give
people.
the Miz,
Miz
When
hasn't
you
won a
let-
match this year, I don't think, unless
Here's
he
the-
has.
here's the thing about the Miz that I'm noticing. When you give the man a script, you can tell he was shooting the shit on Raw. That's why he looked like $1 million out there. Because when he
Mhm.
goes into those shoot promos, that's when the Miz is at his best. And that's why
Yes,
I
sir.
really hope that the Miz does go to SmackDown eventually, so that we get LA Knight and the Miz in there, and I feel like we need to get Grayson Waller involved because I think the Miz being like a manager for Grayson Waller would definitely do wonders.
Oh,
Or even them as a
absolutely.
tag team. That would be great as well.
I would definitely lean more towards the managerial role because I think there's still like tag team work in there, but you don't have to overwork it. And another classic fucking predictable betrayal.
I could see
like you could actually
Miz
see that
B's
building.
the star in Grayson Waller.
Exactly.
I could see Miz, LA Knight, and Grayson Waller forming a faction.
Yeah. Well, LA Knight. Well, maybe eventually
LA
down the
Knight's
line.
on his own, man.
No, he's on
He's
his
on
own
his
right now.
own.
He's shooting towards the stars on his own goddamn rocket ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. So
What's
just
your highlight of the week,
yeah.
Danny?
I'm gonna go a little bit different. As much as I like LA Knight and I'm a huge fan of what he's doing currently, I don't feel like a lot of love gets shown towards the whole MJF and Adam Cole group, man. Like,
It's
when
phenomenal.
when you see something on TV and you're so excited about it, you start to get goosebumps in your stomach. Every time I see a
He got
segment
the
with
tingle.
them two, bro.
I got the tingle, baby.
Bro, every time I see a segment on Dynamite with them, I get that feeling in my stomach, man. Like I love what they're
Oh, it
doing.
fills your guts. It blends your guts. You feel it all deep up in your guts.
Yeah, it's almost like getting a gutted 69, man.
A gutted 69. Hashtag stepbrother. Hit the stepbrother button. Oh, Caesar. Oh.
But because obviously WWE is the number one company, there's a lot of people that dislike AEW and what they're doing. I don't feel like
it's great.
I don't feel like this story is getting as much love as it should because it's
Dude,
really good stuff.
I'm stoked just for that one hug where fucking he did the backstab. The same thing he fucking did in NXT.
Bro,
like I'm stoked for it.
MJF, you probably didn't watch it last night, but
No.
Adam Cole wanted to take MJF to this trampoline park. MJF wanted to go skinny dipping with hot naked girls.
Rats.
And
Rats.
Yeah, rats.
Oh, ring rats.
And MJF just starts pelting children with fucking dodgeballs. Bro, it's fucking fantastic.
They're
That's
going
my
the old
highlight
school
of the week.
attitude era shit.
That's my highlight of the week was MJF whipping dodgeballs at kids because he didn't want to be at the trampoline park.
And then the
Hey,
little
man,
girl
I'm
flipped
calls
him
him a
off.
nerd.
And then the little girl flipped him off.
Gave him the
And
finger.
then Adam Cole was like, all right, Max, maybe one more. And he just pelts the little girl in the head. I was watching. I was like, bro, isn't this
That's fucking
child
awesome.
abuse?
I mean, if they signed up a waiver and they're getting paid, I don't think they give a fuck.
During that
But-
reaction, I was laughing my ass off that
he
entire
he was
time.
like, ha!
I just don't feel like this story gets as much love as it deserves.
Dude, it really is phenomenal. Even as an outsider looking in, like I've seen some of the fucking work, and again, it's two great people together that are beyond talented, and you're getting to see MJF break character a little bit. Like he's still his same old MJF, but in a funnier light. So it's like you get to have a good time with this bromance about to turn ugly fucking rivalry when Adam Cole, does his fucking Randy Orton shit. I'm really stoked on it, So I mean, it's not really necessarily getting love. You're just choosing to talk about it, and I'm stoked on it.
So my highlight of the week has got to be MJF and Adam Cole. I've really enjoyed this as well a lot. Even though I did love the Miz and LA Knight's, promo battle on Monday.
Yep.
That was fantastic. But with AEW, man, they did a great job on Dynamite for once. The storylines are actually lining up. I
Here we
was
go.
very surprised.
Remolding.
And with MJF and Adam Cole, I love the whole trampoline thing. MJF, hitting them kids with dodgeballs, that was definitely a highlight for me. And like they did the slow-mo with like the Godzilla music when he was smacking the freaking balls at the kids, hit the kid in the gut, hit like one girl with her phone in her hands. And like that was just fantastic. But I also really liked the segment that happened afterwards because we got Roderick Strong. They put him in the middle of this because, of course, he has that friendship with Adam Cole, and he feels like, Cole's picking MJF over him. And now the Kingdom got involved because they're trying to tell Roderick Strong that Adam Cole doesn't care for him anymore. So they kind of got them in the mix. And I feel like at All In, MJF is going to, pull the devil move. And I feel like he's going to be, the leader of the Kingdom. With Roderick Strong. I think Roderick Strong is playing Adam Cole.
Nah, I think it's if you're a illusionist or a magician, you'll know the term sleight of hand, and that's when you're focusing on one thing and it's misdirection. Like, I think this is all a ploy for when Adam takes it. Like, and
But-
that's my hot take, man. Like, I think Adam
But
Cole is
here-
going to
but
be the one
here's
to do it.
why I love this. Because it's
You can't
so
guess.
unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen because
They're
Adam
both
Cole
fiendish,
really
too.
does have a chance to win the title. They both can turn heel at any point in this.
That's what I'm saying.
I love what they're doing with the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions on 0 Hour. We've
Like,
never
could you
seen that
imagine?
before.
But could you imagine too? Hold up, because like I know you're about to go in. The one thing that I'm excited about, and I think this is why they're gonna go the Adam Cole turning heel route. Can you imagine a fucking babyface MJF? That's gonna be ridiculous, and it's gonna be fucking hilarious, and he's gonna absolutely tear fucking Adam Cole to shreds. And like, I'm stoked for a feud like that. Like, I would love to see an MJF babyface where he's still himself as MJF. Like, that would be an exciting fucking route. So I think that you should capitalize. But that's again, that's my
I
hot
agree with
take.
you on that.
And this is the unpredictability that I've
That's
been
why-
talking about.
Yes, exactly.
MJF and Adam Cole, even though they're a team
They're both
and
fiendish
they're
as
like
fuck.
friends, MJF still comes out of the heel side of the entrance way. Adam Cole comes out of the baby side. A couple weeks ago we saw Adam
That's
Cole
what those
when they
tunnels
were
mean?
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's actually kind of clever. I didn't know that. Wow,
That's an
fun
old
fact.
school
The shit
thing,
you learn.
man.
The shit
And-
you learn. Wow.
And a couple weeks ago, when Adam Cole was embracing MJF and MJF was embracing him, Adam Cole did the knife
the
right in the
backstab
back.
thing.
I mean, bro, like this can realistically go in any which way, and this is what I mean. You can have stories like this and have them be unpredictable. I
But
feel
here-
like WWE at times is a little bit too predictable.
But here's the
Yeah.
thing, then, that you're going to find very interesting as well. So, for the first time ever, the main event of All In is going to be MJF versus Adam Cole for the AEW World Championship.
Yeah.
But here's what's going to happen at 0 Hour, the pre-show. MJF and Adam Cole challenged Aussie Open for the ROH Tag Team Champions. So they're going to be wrestling on the pre-show as a tag team going for those titles, and they're going to be main eventing against each other.
Whoa. Shit. Nice.
Which that's going to be definitely something very different in pro wrestling that we haven't seen. So I'm definitely intrigued. But one funny thing I do got to say as well for my highlight of the week, one of the lines that I did have to find on the phone here that I do got to read to you, Ben, you're going to get a kick out of this. So MJF and Adam Cole, they're going back and forth, as friends. And then MJF thought that Adam Cole wanted to have a promo battle against him. So here's what he said to Adam Cole. He said, "You are so skinny and ghostly pale white that if this were the 80s, Hogan would have snorted ya."
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, so that
Oh
is
my
our
God.
highlight of the weeks. But up next on the We Are Wrestling Podcast 69, we're going to be talking about some WWE news. We'll be
Let's
right
get
back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Hall of Famer Devon Dudley here. And when I'm not putting people through tables or testifying, I am listening to one of the greatest podcasts in the world. We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check it out. Testify.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Danny Huckins, and the Load Rager Ben are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back. And our first topic for We Are Wrestling 69. WWE has been, unfortunately, dealing with the injury bug. So
Yep.
we just found out that one half of the women tag team champions, Sonya Deville, will be out of action for 6 to 9 months with a torn ACL. Sami Zayn, we saw a similar injury to John Cena with, his elbow being very big. and even Roman Reigns. There's reports that he suffered an injury early in the match against Jey Uso at
Fucking Christ.
SummerSlam. The severity of the injury is unknown, but it won't take away any of his TV time. What's your thoughts on all these injuries, and what should WWE do about this?
Fuck. Well, number one, fuck, because it's affecting literally the title holder. It's like, apparently if you have a title, you're cursed. Like, it's not even a fucking thing anymore. You're just cursed, especially on the women's behalf, and that is unfortunate. Those tag team titles are fucking cursed. Damn.
Wait a minute. You're right. Liv
Yeah.
Morgan got injured. Now Sonya Deville got hurt.
Mhm.
Sasha Banks and Naomi walked away.
Mhm.
Damn, those titles.
Yeah,
are cursed.
Sonya Deville said she posted on Instagram or whatever about like how she got injured and she has to have surgery or whatever. She said in the video, she was like, the tag team titles are cursed. I'm
Yeah.
joking.
Yeah, I saw it.
No, not really. Yeah. So I do think that WWE needs to get rid of these fucking women's tag team titles, bro.
I don't think they need to get rid of it. I think they need to
have not,
split
man.
them for the brands. But
I
you know,
think
what do we got?
I think they need to get rid of the women's tag teams. I'm sick of just random women being paired up. Some of them make sense, some of them fucking do
Nah,
not.
they've gotten
And
better with the pair.
They need
better.
they need to have a new singles title for the women. That's what they need to fucking do.
Like an Intercontinental?
That or like a US, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. But what
That
were you
would make
saying,
a
Ken?
lot more sense than the tag titles.
What were you saying? Because I know you said about the titles being cursed, and then you were gonna go on and say something.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very touchy subject because like I get wanting to put these women over, but at this point, drop them and just get another singles title that's like more of a mid card title because dealing with just the world titles for the women is, you know, obviously it's a big roster for them. You're gonna need something else. So do a mid card title. Do like a fucking like a women's international title or something like that. You know, like fucking just something a little bit more mid card, but it's still prestigious. Bring the fucking shit. Bring a fucking hardcore women's title, and I'd fucking buy it. You got people like Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley, fucking Bianca Belair. Like, there's mad people that could fight for that shit, dude. Like, it could be something. It could be something. They're hurting, man. And the women's division has just been fucking consistently hurting, and this is just one of those.
AW too.
instances.
AW
dude.
and WWE, bro. It's like none of them can get the women's division to where it needs to be.
It's
Yeah,
rough,
Jamie
dude.
Hayter got hurt as champion.
Yeah, and she's out right now too. Like, there's a lot of people that are just out with injury. Like, and what they should do with it, I don't fucking know. This is like the one time where, like, dude, towels being thrown in because everything's
telling
happening
you, man.
fast.
Get rid of the tag team titles. Bring in another singles title for the women. You know, they need to hire somebody like, you know, maybe a female that has been known in the business. WWE needs to hire a female to work strictly with the women.
You know something? That wouldn't be a bad idea because in Impact Wrestling, the reason why the knockouts are so over
They have Gail
is because
Kim.
They have Gail Kim. Exactly.
So WWE, they have the fucking money. They should
You know who
hire
they
somebody
should-
that works with the women.
You know who they should just bring in general that actually has a lot of buzz?
Who?
Ooh, I know who you're going to say.
Jade Cargill. She has no plans on going back to AEW right now. She left to leave. She would thrive at the Performance Center and then eventually making her debut in maybe NXT, go fucking forming the division there, become a stronghold again, maybe take a title reign, hop to the main roster. There's a lot of people that would play. 100
She'd be
people.
perfect as a WWE.
She
superstar.
would be
She
fucking
would.
incredible.
She would.
Incredible. And she would get a
But-
push because she's big, strong. That's the fucking
And
image
she's
that they're
still-
going for.
And she's also still a little green, so NXT
Yes.
would be a good place.
NXT and the Performance Center. Good coaches would fucking shape her to her full potential, and I could see a main event women's star that could destroy Charlotte Flair.
I would love a Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair feud. That
Absolutely.
would be amazing.
That would be more compelling to me than a fucking Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Like, they are both built very similar. They are both of the same stature. I think Jade's quite
What
a bit
about
taller.
Jade versus Rio?
That's
Eventually.
another one.
Eventually, but my first target would be for the women's title for Charlotte and fucking Jade Cargill. 100%, dude. Like she needs to go to WWE because that would reignite a huge fire. Because there's just pristine there with just an individual and what they've accomplished in AEW. I
But
think she would be
also,
incredible.
But also, there were reports that she wanted to back away from AEW because of the travel. She didn't like to fucking travel every week. So, like, you travel a lot more when you're in WWE than you
Money
did when
talks,
you're in
bud.
AEW.
We've seen it. Money talks. Money talks and a good contract.
Yeah,
That's
but
all that matters.
I don't want somebody in the company just for the sake of having money. Like we saw
No,
that with Ronda Rousey.
for
I want
sure.
somebody to be there that actually wants to be there.
No, for sure. And that's a very good point. But it remains to be seen. And that's just, like I said, that's just my hot take want, you know?
And that's the thing, like, the first time around, WWE did show interest in Jade Cargill, but she did turn it down because of the schedule. But
Oh,
here's
shit.
the thing,
Okay.
she showed what she can do, and I think that WWE will definitely offer her more money now, seeing what she did, you know, with the undefeated streak and the way that she improved in 1 year times. Because I remember her first, you know, debut in AEW. That was botched. One of the most embarrassing debuts on television of all time.
Jesus
And
Christ.
a year later, she looks like $1 million.
Yeah, you can definitely tell she's putting the work. But I just, like I said, like if she goes to WWE, that's fantastic. I just hope she doesn't do it for the money. I hope she does it because she legitimately wants to be there. I don't
I
need
get it.
somebody in WWE just for the sake of money. Because if that's the case, then it's not going to be anything anybody's going to be interested in seeing.
Very true. But now, you know, I want to give my thoughts on all these injuries that are happening. It's unfortunate. It sucks, especially Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens as the tag team champions. Since, you know, we just talked about Sonya Deville, I want to kind of talk about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think that we need to, you know, let go of the tag titles from them. Let them get their well-deserved break. Let them heal up because Kevin Owens, he's been pretty beat up for a while. He needs this time. Sami Zayn, he needs to go get surgery for his elbow. And I just think that this is the perfect opportunity to bring back two different tag team champions, one for Raw, one for SmackDown. I think the divisions are stacked enough to, you know, hold their own. And I think having one tag team championship is holding a lot of these tag teams back. Like,
Did you,
I want to see Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows wrestle more. I want to see Pretty Deadly. I want to see more of these underrated tag teams get the opportunity to show what they can do, but they can't when there's one
Injuries. Oh, yeah.
Same thing with the women. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Caden Carter and Katana Chance, man. Caden Carter and Katana Chance, they were like hands down the best female tag team in NXT. And they got squashed by fucking Ronda and Baszler.
I was
and
there.
they've been off TV since. Nobody's seen from. So WWE has a habit of not booking people the way they need to be booked.
But the men's
did you
tag
also
team division is getting a lot better, which is why I think for once, because I know we complained a lot about them having two tag titles, but now I think we're starting to really see that maybe WWE needs to have two tag titles. Because Triple H has brought back a lot of these teams, and it seems like he knows what he's doing with the tag team division.
Especially with New Day.
I feel like it made more sense.
Brawling Brutes.
There's a lot more men tag team than there are women tag team. Did you also hear the report that Kevin Owens is not possibly going to be re-signing with WWE, that this might be his last contract in a major pro wrestling company?
Yep, I did see that, and that's really sad and unfortunate. I believe we covered that last week on the podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just heard about it a couple days ago, man. It's crazy, man.
But now I do want to talk about Roman Reigns real quick and give you guys my thoughts on this. Injuries suck, but I'm not surprised that Roman got hurt because I think the reason why he got hurt early in the match is ring rust. Yep, I'm going to call Roman Reigns out on the podcast.
Damn.
Ring rust. Roman Reigns is not wrestling enough, and that's why he got hurt.
Part of me feels like, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. Part of me doesn't think he's legitimately injured. I think
it was during the spot where Jey Uso, he threw him out of the ring, and then Roman like landed on his shoulder wrong. I think he
they can say whatever they want, bro. Part of me doesn't believe it. because he's not going to be on Payback or Fastlane. Part of me feels like this is a way for them to save face and be like, yeah, Roman's not going to be on these 2 shows and have it make sense instead of people getting in an uproar. Oh, you have a world champion who's missing 2 huge shows, and
Honestly,
so
I could see that excuse. That's fair. For
Yeah.
once, your toxicity makes sense. But how do you feel about this, Ben, with Roman Reigns?
I don't care. Like I said, I'm burnt out with Roman Reigns, dude. I'm burnt out. Like my interest for the whole bloodline story is like starting to dwindle now. Like I'm hitting my fatigue point where I'm just like,
and that's not good because during the press conference, Paul Heyman said that they're only at the bottom of the 3rd inning.
And there's 9 innings in baseball.
and it's fucking stupid is what the fuck it is. Like,
So what Paul Heyman is basically saying is this thing's gonna be going until we're about 105 years old.
do you really think anybody wants that? Like it's so fucking annoying at this point. So I don't care.
It
I don't
can't
care
go
what the
longer than
excuse is.
WrestleMania 40.
Just
in
give the
my
title to
What I-
somebody else that wants it.
The bloodline story can go past WrestleMania 40. Roman's title, however,
Yes,
cannot.
well said.
But
That's
with
fair.
the Usos now at odds, and obviously I do believe they're setting up Jimmy versus
Whoa,
Jay
whoa,
at
whoa,
Payback.
whoa. We'll dive into Jimmy and Jay on the main
No,
event.
but what I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying is with that situation happening, and we're gonna find out on Friday. Well, found out last night at the time you guys are seeing this podcast. Hopefully we get Rikishi. Hopefully we get the Wild Samoans. Hopefully we get more members of the Anoa'i family on television because that would make for some interesting stuff to happen.
That would spice some things up, and I think like if there's a time for them to do that, it would be now.
Oh
I
god,
agree.
yeah.
But moving on now to our next topic. Former NXT Women's Champion, former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, the 2017 Mae Young Classic winner, Kairi Sane, has come to terms on a new deal with WWE. But she will not be coming to WWE until she finishes up her dates in Japan, which will be around November. What's your thoughts on WWE bringing back Kairi Sane?
I feel like that's why they took the title off of Asuka at SummerSlam, because they wanted to get the Kabuki Warriors back together and get them involved in the tag team division. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, that's the only reason I see them as to why they decided to go with Io Sky now instead of waiting for a bigger moment.
Because we're gonna get Asuka versus Io Sky. Like that's kind of like obvious.
I feel like we're going to get that. I feel like until Kairi comes back. So I think
Yeah,
for now, they'll let
that's gonna be a
Asuka
feud.
with Io. And then when Kairi comes back, Io will still be champion and Asuka will move on.
I think
Kairi
honestly, I think Kyrie's gonna come back and maybe save Asuka from something, and then fucking immediately turn on Asuka. I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a wild card. I think fucking they're gonna go right into a feud. Like I think that would be the smartest way as well. I think that would draw some serious
But
money because they're both fucking talented as shit,
also-
and they're 2 Japanese wrestlers. Fuck yeah.
But yeah, but
Fuck yeah.
you also have to take into account that a lot of WWE's audience is just casual fans. It's been a little bit since Kairi Sane has been in WWE. So a lot of like the casuals that watch, a couple times a month or whatever, they're not really gonna know who she is. So I feel like I wouldn't have her turn on Asuka right away. I would wait for a bigger moment. That way it has a bigger impact.
I kind of like that because maybe at like WrestleMania 40, we get Asuka versus Kairi. So you have enough time to, bring them back as a tag team and break them up towards WrestleMania season. And honestly, they could put on a 5-star classic, I think.
Oh yeah. They're both fucking incredible.
You got to have them develop that relationship with each other.
Yeah.
Get the audience
Rekindle some shit.
more,
And break it.
get the audience more familiar with them.
Yeah.
I want to say this. I love this signing. Triple H really knew how to utilize her in NXT.
And
She
her
was the
elbow
very
drops
first-
are unmatched.
She was the very first winner of the Mae Young Classic.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved her gimmick. I loved the whole, pirate, the sailing music. Like she had that presentation to her. And, she left WWE. She, did some stuff with Stardom and, New Japan, and honestly, like, showing that she could be a big star. And honestly, I think that this is a great signing. Triple H knew how to utilize her. So now that Triple H is running creative, might as well come back to WWE. I think the timing is
yeah.
right, and timing is everything.
Yep.
But now moving on to our next topic here. Recently, during an interview with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN, Logan Paul says pro wrestling is harder than boxing. He stated that with wrestling, when I first started, I couldn't believe how 360 degrees this business was. There are so many things to account for, and the analog I use when I'm boxing, I'm worried about one person, the guy across from me, right? Paul said. In wrestling, he has to worry about thousands of fans watching the action, with it being his job to make sure they have a good time. He also has to make sure that he successfully performs all of his moves, putting on a good physical performance as well as entertaining. It's like Broadway on steroids. Like, everyone in the WWE is so athletic and so talented in a different way that I never would have expected. And I find the mental part of WWE way more taxing than boxing. How do you
Absolutely.
feel about that statement Logan made?
That is 100% spot on. Like that goes without fucking saying, man. Like, it is. Like, with boxing, you're training for one fight and you just got to worry about the dude in front of you. Everybody else is going to take care of everything else. With
Yeah.
WWE, it's a team fucking effort. It is a team effort. Then you got a bunch of spots. One wrong spot from a high spot, boom, career over. It is a mental fucking game, dude. It is like dancing with your other opponent because everything is pre-planned. You miss one thing, you botch the whole fucking story right there. It is, and not only the travel schedule, the demands, the shit you're signing up that you have to do if you're going to do this. There is so much. You have to make sure that you're acting right because you're speaking on a microphone constantly. You have to make sure that you're gauging the audience and that you can read them and you can feed off of that, or else nobody's going to buy it. Boxing, you're just fucking, you're really hitting somebody as hard as you can possibly hit them for a knockout. But with WWE, it's always risk for injury. You always got to be on your A game. You always got to give a top form physical performance. It's such a different world. It's a fucking huge entertainment business. And if you don't got it, nobody's going to buy it. And with boxing, you just got to focus on one person.
Yep, and of course you have to build, towards the fights. You have to do press conferences, wait, all that. I feel like there's differences between pro wrestling and boxing, but with pro wrestling, you have to do things correctly because you are performing in front of thousands of people. Boxing, yes, you could botch it, but if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. It is what it is. But
It
in
is what it is, Junior.
WWE, it's not like that. Like, if you get knocked out for real, then you're fucked because you have to entertain these thousands of people. There's people that have to wrestle through injury throughout the entire match because you have people watching you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Look at fucking Cody Rhodes. Prime example.
Prime example. Daddy, how do you feel about Logan's statement?
I'm definitely in agreement. Like, people that don't know the business or don't quite understand, like, what it takes to be a pro wrestler. And, like, I'm not a pro wrestler. I talk about pro wrestling, but I don't want to, put myself in the same category as somebody
We've
that's
heard a bunch of
actually
stories,
in
man.
the ring.
Over the way, we've heard a bunch. So
yeah, we go to a lot of shows. We're friends with a lot of people within the independent wrestling realm.
and those are your hardest days.
But the thing with pro wrestling and boxing is when you're a pro wrestler, you gotta be engaged with the audience. In boxing, you don't have to. Though when you're in boxing, and I don't know much about boxing, I don't think I've ever watched an actual boxing fight. But I know enough about it to realize, like, when you're in there, your main objective is to knock your opponent out. That's your main objective.
And
When
get
it comes up,
jabs and points and stuff too.
when it comes to pro wrestling, you gotta act like you're whipping somebody's ass when in reality you're not. You're trying to work as safe as possible. So it is almost like Broadway and being on a stage play. Obviously, it's very
Choreography,
dangerous,
bro.
very risky. Like, a lot of performers do work stiff. A lot of shots do connect. But it's a lot less devastating than it looks. I just feel like people that don't like the business or don't know much about it besides what they see on TV, a couple times a week or once a month or whatever it is, they don't quite understand what it takes to actually be a pro wrestler. They just look at it, oh, these guys are just fake fighting. It's a lot more than that. And, I think nowadays in the age of the internet and the age of Google and everything else, I feel like people should start educating themselves because it's a lot more risky than people think.
And that's the thing. We've even seen plenty of athletes go through to WWE tryouts, and a lot of them were shocked on how hard it was. Some even said trying out for the NFL was easier than training to become a WWE superstar. There's pro athletes that have failed WWE exams. That's how hard it is in the ring. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that because they haven't stepped foot in the ring. They haven't trained or done it. Because if you do look at, a pro wrestler, when somebody decides that they want to be a wrestler, they go through the basic training, and your body for the first 3 months, you have bruises all over your body because you have to get used to that mat, which,
The ring
by
callus.
the way, is not a fucking trampoline.
Oh,
It is not a trampoline. It is a very light mat. The only thing that's fake about pro wrestling is the outcome, because at the end of the day, they're telling a story.
There's always a stipulation.
And wrestling, I understand, is not for everybody, but those that say, oh, wrestling is fake, they should do the research, and they should definitely go say that to somebody that has done it for years. I dare somebody to tell Bob Hawley, Hardcore Hawley, that wrestling is fake. I would love to see what friggin' Hardcore Hawley does to that person.
Big old Alabama slam right there.
There was a wrestler from the 80s that worked
And
for
remind
WWE.
you, he ain't gonna land on his fucking back. He's gonna fucking land right on his neck.
There's a wrestler from the 80s. There's an interview. You can find it on YouTube. I can't remember the guy's name. But he was being interviewed by some television reporter. He mentioned that, there's a lot of people that say, WWF at the time, WWF is
Vader.
fake and
That
this
was
and that.
Vader and The Undertaker.
I don't
was
think
in,
it was
mid-90s.
Vader. It wasn't Vader. It was somebody else. This was in the 80s. He had like blonde hair or whatever. I can't remember his name.
Fuck, I met him.
But
I met him at a wrestling classic.
He beat the fuck out of the reporter, and he fucking got arrested and all kinds of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wrestlers that
Hold on, I'm
because
gonna find his name while you talk about this.
and that just came to mind or whatever. It's just, I feel like there's no reason why people shouldn't educate themselves on the business. Even if you don't like it, learn about it. Because there might be aspects about it that you highly fuck with.
Yeah, like some people, they love the in-ring stuff. There's other people that love the storytelling. Like, I understand it's not for everybody, but
it's like watching one of your favorite television shows or whatever, but it's live every week. So you're following along with the story of these characters.
Damn, I cannot find this guy's name, so I do apologize for that. I will put a picture in the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I agree with Logan. There's just more into pro wrestling than boxing. Boxing obviously probably hurts more in some cases because it's actual fighting. But there's more.
There's more to it and more risks.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Like, of course, like boxing usually camps, because I've been, starting to pay attention to boxing a little bit more since, KSI and the Paul brothers have, taken over boxing and finally getting some eyes on the sport. So I've been paying attention to it, and usually training camps are 3 months. So your body, you're going through it 3 months, but a lot of people forget that in pro wrestling, there's no off season. It's go, go, go.
They don't have training camps, man. If you need a training camp, that means you're not good enough to be on television yet.
You're green. But my thoughts on the whole, Logan Paul statement, well said. I think that a lot of people do misconstrued what WWE is. A lot of people think that it's fake, even because of the outcomes. But a lot of people need to do the research. I think, Logan Paul even saying that his opinion is 100% valid, because guess what? The man did both. He has boxed. He has, been doing pro wrestling. So Logan Paul, if there's anybody that knows that, it's Logan Paul. And I think that,
Absolutely.
he couldn't have said it any better myself. But up next on the We Are Wrestling podcast, we're going to be talking about some AEW All-In news. And AEW is more interested now in a legend. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling podcast 69.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
One thing We Are Wrestling recommends you to do is support your local independent promotions. They are the stars of tomorrow. And you never know, sometimes when you go to these shows that might only have 10 to 30 people, you could be seeing the next future WWE champion, maybe even the next AEW star. And through the years, I've always been a huge advocate to supporting independent wrestling. And you can't go wrong. It's a cheap night out, you get a good time with the family, and you get to watch some good old wrestling. Independent wrestling, that's where usually a young professional wrestler starts their career. And having these opportunities to perform in front of crowds is a great way to get exposure to where they will eventually be on your television screen watching them every week. We recommend you guys to support indie wrestling. We're back, and every week on the podcast, we do this thing called Comment of the Week. And if you want to get your comment featured on the We Are Wrestling podcast, to all the listeners, to all the watchers, we recommend you to go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and comment on any video. But this week, because we got the big 3 back, we got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 comments
Damn.
of
Jesus Christ, bro. You trying to shout out our entire fucking fan base?
Might as well be. Holy shit. These better
That's
be
right,
compelling
we're
ass comments.
acknowledging the We Are Wrestling Maniacs, baby. And our first comment is from the James A567, and he commented this: if they trade The Miz to SmackDown, they should trade The Miz for Karrion Kross. Put Kross in the world title picture.
Yes. Oh, fucking God. Here we go. But yes, I would love Cross on Raw.
I wouldn't mind Kross on Raw, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff they need to do before he I don't even
thinks
want
about it.
I don't even want to. The way they booked Kross since he's
stinker.
coming back, bro. I don't even want to see Kross. I don't even think he deserves to be in the same ring as Seth Rollins right now.
Mute his ass right now. Mute his ass right now for saying that dumb shit. No. I won't accept that. No, Karrion Kross, let him cook. Let him cook. There's some crazy shit coming.
It's not Kross. I
calling
love
it.
Kross. It's the WWE creative team that have the IQ of fucking gerbils.
Oh, that way. There we go. Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
I definitely
agree.
definitely got to agree with that. But my
Exactly.
thoughts, on that, I think that would be a solid trade.
That'd be a fucking phenomenal match. too.
SmackDown, yes, he has this little feud with AJ, but it's not really
I do like
doing anything crazy.
I thought it was over.
Honestly, The Miz does need to go to SmackDown because him and LA Knight, they were cooking each other on Raw. And I think that we definitely should get, Miz over on SmackDown where he strives. And I think Kross should get, a new start on Raw. So I do like that a
Abso-fucking-lutely.
lot. But our next comment of the week is from @Thomas2. And they commented this: these two are a great tag team. I love Genuine Max. Pretty much saying Adam Cole and MJF are a great tag team.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I said, there's nothing like seeing MJF pelt children with dodgeballs on a fine Wednesday evening to just, make everybody happy.
To make everybody happy, let's pelt fucking dodgeballs at children.
I love how opposite they are, but they're so good together. It's
Max
great.
is sort of the
Good chemistry.
douchebag. Max is sort of the douchebag who's trying to be a good person, and Adam Cole is sort of like his voice of reason. It's almost
Now
like
he's gonna have to be,
It's almost like the devil and angel on your shoulder.
and that's why it's gonna be great when Adam turns on him, because he's gonna have to be a good person.
Or is
MJF's
MJF
gonna
MJF
turn on
gonna?
him.
Or yeah.
No,
this is what I'm
bitch.
saying, man.
I can't wait for the predictions for All In.
This is so unpredictable.
And Ben, you're
this-
watching All In with us, right?
So you're involved in a
Over.
prediction video.
That's right, man. But honestly, I gotta say, they do have great chemistry, and I'm enjoying their tag run. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But now, our next comment of the week is from @JackRoman2761, and he commented this. And this was on our prediction video. He said, "No, they already said this will be the first time women will fail to cash in. Well, joke's on you, Jack. Io Sky, she cashed in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, boy.
In our prediction video, I was right, Ben was right, and Danny was predicting this from the start.
What's this guy's name?
Jack Roman 2761.
That says it
Jack
all.
Roman just turned himself into a jackass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Flame.
When you assume you make an ass out of you and me.
You ruined me!
You ruined me. The toxic getting hot in here, baby.
Yeah, you ruined me.
Take off all your clothes.
Please keep that
Whoa,
shit down.
whoa.
We
That
are not
shit
going
down.
X-rated.
All right, we're getting into our next comment now.
Thank you.
From @TJ_Chamberlain. He commented this. And this was on my RVD reaction when he debuted with AEW. He said, "I am so fucking happy. I lost my shit when I heard the first note of Walk,
Oh yeah, bro.
Pantera."
Of everybody that has come from like the original ECW days, bro, nobody is in good a shape as RVD, bro. The dude can still fucking go. Maybe not every single week, but I was watching a review on AEW Dynamite last night. If you have him go,
Can I guess who you watched this review?
Who?
JD from New York.
No, Fife.
Ah, close.
But they were like, if you book him maybe once or twice a month,
Fucking asshole.
the guy can still go, man. Maybe not like every week, like on a consistent basis every week, but have him go once or twice a month, man. Sign me the fuck up. I would actually not mind him being on the All-In card if it makes sense. Like seeing how good he works in the ring now in 2023.
Man, he had a great match with Jungle Man. That was great on Dynamite. But we're going to be getting into that as one of our topics. But I definitely agree, man. I loved like the whole, Pantera Walk. That was his ECW theme. And even somebody commented, "Wow, you're the first reactor to acknowledge that." No shit. I'm a wrestling mark. I love nostalgia. I live on nostalgia. So hearing that first note to Pantera, I lost my
boner.
shit.
Yeah, he had a fat boner. Hashtag
Episode
Red69.
Scissor. And our last
Scissor
comment of the
me.
week is from the same person that commented on our first comment of the week @TheJamesA567. And he said this. This was on our watch-along for SummerSlam, and this was about the Usos. He said, "I didn't want to see the Usos break up, but they accomplished everything as a tag team in WWE. They were the longest reigning tag team champions, and they even main evented night 1 of WrestleMania, with the tag team championships involved. The Usos are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, not just in WWE, but in pro wrestling besides FTR and the Young Bucks. And most of all, they made tag team wrestling relevant again in WWE. I have no problem with them going their separate ways, and I think they should have solo careers. But I hope they have plans for them if they each go solo."
I heard, and I'll elaborate a little bit more once we hit the main event, because obviously that's probably going to be the main event topic for the podcast. But I heard that they want to expand the Jay versus Jimmy. They want to prolong it and have it go all the way to WrestleMania.
But they're scared about it because 35 weeks might be a stretch, and that is a stretch. That is a long-ass feud. That's playing with fire right there.
I wouldn't have them on TV ever. If they're trying to do that, I would have them not be on TV on a consistent
Someone
basis
needs
every
to go on a
single week.
vacation. Like, somebody needs to fucking sell a massive injury and fucking go on a vacation and then fucking pop back up at the Rumble. Like, they need to have their quick feud. Jay needs to go on a hiatus. Like, he needs to go on a well-earned vacation. He's been carrying it this whole time.
And then the Rumble,
have
should
him
eliminate Jimmy.
Yes,
You could have-
absolutely.
you
Have
could
him
have-
come in at number 12 or number 21. Like, just have
You
him
could
come in
have-
and have him almost win it. That'd be fucking sick if he won it.
We're going to get into fantasy booking
Yeah.
on the main event of
Yeah.
this week's episode of the podcast.
Okay.
but
Yeah,
I
we're going
thought-
too far.
But I did think that was definitely my comment of the week there because he really dove deep
Yeah.
into it, and I feel like we need to acknowledge
was
the
like,
Usos.
Ye-
Hey, Danny, you got to acknowledge the Usos.
I acknowledge Jimmy. I acknowledge Jimmy.
But guys, that was our comment
Never.
of the weeks. And if you guys want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast,
Comment,
all you have to do
bitch.
is go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and comment on any video. But with that being said, let's dive into some of these AEW topics that we have for this week's episode 69. So, speaking of RVD, according to Fightful, AEW were very impressed with RVD's in-ring abilities on the show against Jungle Man Jack Perry. And my question to you guys is, should WWE or AEW give RVD a contract?
Sure.
Yes,
Give him a Legends
100%.
contract.
Like I was just saying a few minutes ago, seeing how well he still moves around in the ring, I wouldn't use him every week, but I would use
No,
him a couple
keep him at
times a
tip-top.
month, and
Have him put people
Special
over.
attraction.
I could have him. I could see him being a manager to somebody. I could see him doing some backstage work when he's not on television. See, this makes more sense than Jeff Jarrett to me. Just knowing how well RVD still works with the amount of stuff that he's done to his body over the years.
Well, Jeff Jarrett also is still a solid worker. He's just in a shitty storyline.
Hopefully, they don't do the same thing to RVD.
Well, I'm not trying to take any credibility away from what you were saying with RVD because, man, he looked fantastic last night. I have not seen a great RVD match in years.
Apparently, this is his first match since 2020 or 2019, something like that.
Fucking not bad for that.
And Ben, we actually sent you the link in the group
Yeah.
chat to watch this match because we know you don't really watch AEW weekly. What was
Yeah.
your thoughts on RVD versus Jack Perry?
Not bad. For somebody who hasn't wrestled for a while and that's, gone through and put his body through the shit he's put his body through, and the fact that this dude is stoned 24/7, the dude
all
can
the
fucking
weed.
still, the dude can still fucking move. Like, the dude still got it. Like, I noticed, and there was one spot, and it's a very particular, like, iconic thing that RVD does, but you could tell that
The leg split on the ropes.
not just that, but like when he would jump up on the ropes and do the twist where he gets on the rope, he didn't get all the way up there. He actually like did not get all the way up. That was my first pinpointer of, all right, this dude definitely hasn't been in a ring recently. Before this, obviously.
Ring rust, what Roman Reigns has
yes.
right now.
That, and you also have to remember age. Then there's also, what he also just did throughout that entire match, and again, the ring callus being a little bit fresh again. That those played into factors. So yeah, I have to agree. Not every week, maybe like once or twice every couple months, having putting good feuds to put the future stars over. That could really use it. Shit, you could have him as a mouthpiece. You could have him manage somebody. Eventually turn that into a feud. There's a lot of avenues that you can bring RVD in, and he can still have a lot of high spot prolific moments with the end of his career. So I think that if they were to sign him, give him a Legends contract.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to have to say about this? Honestly, man, AEW, they definitely utilized him for the
It's a
time that
dub.
he was there. In
It's a
2
dub.
weeks' time, I think they did a great job with him. I know there's a lot of guys that they bring in and they sign and then they don't use them. I don't want that to happen to RVD. So that's the only thing that concerns me if AEW decides to, sign him to a full-time contract. But also, WWE, man, they definitely had to have saw that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, fuck
Yep.
yeah, they did.
But I
Somebody's
feel
always
like-
watching.
But here's the thing, though. I feel like WWE right now, they're focused on the talent that they do have right now. So I feel like realistically, RVD, potentially going to AEW does seem more realistic. And I think they did a great job with this feud with Jack Perry. I think even Jack Perry coming out in, Jerry Lynn's inspired gear, I think that added more to the feud because in case you didn't watch ECW back in the day, Jerry Lynn and RVD, they had a heated rivalry. So having, Jack Perry, wear the gear, that's some old school shit right there that I really liked. And it just worked. They both definitely worked well together, which I liked.
Yeah, even if they don't necessarily use RVD all the time in the ring, I do feel like with somebody as knowledgeable as him,
Good
because
producer.
he was in ECW, WCW, WWE, TNA. He's been pretty much everywhere. I can't remember
Another
if he's ever
traveling
done
talent.
stuff with. I can't remember if he's done stuff in New Japan. I think he's
Oh,
done
he
stuff
had
with
to
like
have, bro. I
AAA
mean,
and
that's
stuff
his
like that.
basically his whole fucking thing. He's
been
definitely
everywhere,
done
man.
shit. Yeah, dude.
But with somebody as knowledgeable as him that's worked in so many different facets, so many different companies, I do feel like AEW and a lot of the newer talent in AEW would benefit greatly to have somebody like him.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have said it any better. So I'm kind of glad that all three of us are on the same page here with RVD. I'm very
Yerp.
impressed, and
We got to
honestly,
do it together, man. We got to do it together. Are
hold
you
on a
guys ready?
second. I just want to say one thing. I hope RVD does get this contract with AEW. He earned it.
I do.
All right, we got to do it.
We are
Are
wrestling.
I like
Yeah,
that.
boy.
I like that a lot. But now let's dive into some AEW All In news because this show is stacking up real quick and it's looking to be one of the biggest shows in All Elite Wrestling history. And some of the matchups that were announced so far as we're recording this podcast,
Yeah, cunt.
I'm going to read them off to you and we'll, go over them one by one. So, of course, the main event, we have Adam Cole versus MJF for the AEW World Title.
It's going to be a banger, man. It's going to we saw how good they did on Dynamite a couple weeks ago before obviously they developed this friendship or whatever and they got paired together in that tag team tournament. And that was no contest because they didn't beat the clock, and that match went 35 minutes.
30-minute match.
Could you imagine what they're gonna do in front of 80,000 people in Wembley fucking Stadium, bro? They're gonna go all out or all in, so to speak. It's gonna be great, man. I can't wait to see what they do. Both phenomenal athletes, both very young still. Adam Cole probably has a little bit more mileage than MJF, but nonetheless, it's gonna be a great fucking match. They could both still go.
And some more matches that were announced for the show. We also just got the announcement that FTR will be defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Young Bucks in their trilogy match because they both are 1-1 against each other. We're also going to be getting the real World Championship, CM Punk defending the title against Samoa Joe. We also have a tag match, which will be a coffin match. Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve Strickland and AR Fox. A fatal four-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Sheeta versus Toni Storm versus, it's obvious, Saraya versus Britt Baker. And the pre-show ROH Tag Team Championship match, Aussie Open versus Adam Cole and MJF. And Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, and Chris Jericho still have matches that are going to be announced within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, Kenny Omega has a sit-down interview next week on Dynamite with Jim Ross, and he's going to be talking about what he's going to be doing at Wembley. So, I mean, if we're going to have Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay at Wembley, I want them against each other. I don't want to see Ospreay versus Jericho. I don't want to see Kenny Omega against somebody else. The only other person that I wouldn't mind Kenny Omega being in a match with would be a one-on-one match between him and CM Punk. But obviously that's not going to happen.
No, that's money on the table.
We need to get Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega again. We need that match. There's a lot of other things you can do with Jericho. Will Ospreay and Jericho is just not it.
Yeah, because that's the reports I saw was Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay, which I feel like they're really going down that route because Don Callis is involved, and I feel like Callis is setting Jericho up, and I think we're going to get that.
Yeah, I feel like Jericho said that he's going to give Don Callis an answer next week, and I do feel like Jericho's going to, spit in his face and be like, the JAS means too much to me or this and that. He sees that who's been there for him this entire time. But yeah, I just, with the amount of mileage and as slow as Jericho is, like, obviously, the dude's in his 50s. He can't move around like he did, back in 99 or whatever. I don't want to see Will Ospreay against Jericho, man. I just don't think that's going to be a very good match.
I don't know. I think that Will Ospreay definitely could bring out the best in Jericho, and it's different too. We've seen Omega, we've seen Ospreay compete against each other. They put on classics. I don't think that they're going to be able to make a even bigger classic than what they had at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
But honestly, I got to say, from the looks of this card, I am very excited. My only concern about all of this is we have AEW All In happening, and then the next week we have AEW All Out, their other big show of the year. So what are we going to do about that? We're going to have, same matches? Are we like, that's only a week build.
If
That's what I'm scared about.
If I
I'm
was
being honest with
if I was TK and AEW, and if I had any kind of control over the situation, I would move All Out. I would still have it in Chicago, but I would move it till the end of September. That way you can have All In, then you can still have a couple weeks to build towards All Out. That way the matches don't feel rushed. Because you don't want to rush anything. So what are they gonna do over the next? We have 2 weeks before All In. What are they gonna do? Build up All Out 2? I mean, that's just be overcomplicated, you know?
And that's the thing, like, and I'm sure Ben can, agree with what I'm saying here. A lot of pro wrestling fans, they complain when WWE does pay-per-views and premier live events within a short period of time. But a lot of people aren't talking about AEW All In and then a week later is All Out. I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And I think it's going to affect AEW a lot because it's going to feel like a second show, similar to Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
And that's, my biggest concern about, the whole All Out thing being a week later.
Yeah, I would honestly put All Out till the end of September, give it a couple weeks, separate itself from All In. Because you don't want All In to feel like the main show and then All Out be like, oh, this is just a secondary show that nobody's gonna give a fuck about. That's what it seems like. And you shouldn't have any of your shows feel that way. You know what I mean? You've known this was the plan for months. You could have easily made the switch. Especially that weekend you have on Saturday is All Out, and then Sunday is Payback, I believe, or it might be the other way around. So that's a big weekend, man. That's a big wrestling weekend. I would have honestly switched All Out till later in September.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm more of an AEW fan than WWE, but I'm looking forward to Payback more than All Out. But Ben, how do you feel about AEW All Out and All In being a week apart?
I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care, dude. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say the same thing Dan said 3 times in a row in retrospect. I don't care. Like, I really don't. I mean, it's a hit or miss.
In the fight.
Dude, if you noticed, I completely blacked out for this entire segment because I realistically don't care. It could be a hit or miss, I mean, having a big stacked week that has been prepared for months, especially with their main shows in the middle building up to that, it could be smart. They might have a lot of things planned that is going to add to All Out. Like, I think they have been planning this internally for a while. There's definitely more that meets the eye. So I think they wouldn't take this chance on themselves unless they were certain it was going to pay off. So I think that, again, it's a hit or miss. I think it could really work, or like you said, momentum, etc., and scheduling conflicts with the opposing company. It's a big risk, but if there's something magical you have planned, now's the time to pull it out. So that's basically my thoughts on it.
Well said.
You want to know what else I have to say about this? With All In is going to be on Saturday.
Are you gonna tell me that it's gonna have to be moved? So are you gonna tell me now that it has to be moved another week or to the end of September again?
No, All In though is Saturday, July 27th.
Okay.
Collision is also supposed to be that day. I'm wondering what they're gonna do.
It's not July. It's August.
Or August. I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that.
Damn.
July and August, man, they're the fucking same to me. I don't pay attention.
No, the fuck. I could.
I would understand if you said June and July because they both start with J's, but July and August.
They're both in. They're both in the
Episode
density.
69, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god. All right, what's the next topic?
Well, the next topic is not an ordinary topic. It's
Oh,
the
God.
main event topic. But before
Oh,
we
shit.
get into our main event topic, which is going to be pretty lengthy because I know we all have our different visions and what we want to see happen. We'll be right back with
You'd be
more
surprised.
PR Wrestling Podcast.
Scissor 9.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the 2010 and 2011 Mr. Puss in Boots, Lucha Lit, Lindsay Dorado, and you're watching the We Are Wrestling Podcast. Stay Lucha Lit, my friends.
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. You guys are watching the We Are Wrestling Podcast. I want to be acknowledged!
Before we get into our main event topic, we recommend all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs to tune in to the AEW All-In Watch-Along at the end of the month, because not only is it going to be me and Danny for this AEW stream, Ben is going to watch his first full AEW show for the very first time. And you guys get to see his reaction live with us. We're going to be having a live watch along on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel at the end of the month for AEW All In. You're not going to want to miss. But now let's get into the main event topic for We Are Wrestling 69.
Let's get it.
Last Saturday at SummerSlam, we saw Jimmy Uso turn on his brother Jay. What's your thoughts on this booking decision? And after we give our thoughts on the booking decision, how would you book this feud? Because of course the reports have came out that both guys, Jimmy and Jay, their dream has actually always been to wrestle against each other on the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania.
So, I think right now is unneeded. They should have built it more with them, kind of being on their own and how they're going to move forward from the bloodline, but there's still echoes of what happened and then Jay turns on him. I almost wish that they stayed together and tried to go their own way. But again, remnants of the bloodline and what happened is still there in retrospect. Build an angle where Jay is still getting over more than Jay, then have him turn on him. And then start that fucking rivalry. Literally do something other than just randomly fucking doing it at SummerSlam. It felt so wrong after the momentum they built, and I feel like just a fucking wall right in front of it. And they just fucking crashed into it. I'm not against the fact of him turning on him. It's just how they did it, staining their own rules and stipulation in the match, how soon it was, and the fact that it's so unknown right now until tomorrow or last night by the time you guys see this podcast. It's one of those things that I'm just it really kind of threw me off the rails a little bit. So how I would book it, again, literally what I just said, fucking have them be together for a while, have Jimmy openly start to show his jealousy, maybe have him abandon him in a match one night, and it's a big opportunity. Build it like the old school days with vignettes. One of the best tag team splits I've ever seen. Speaking of fucking before we went on camera where I marked out about Paul London. One of the best tag team splits and brutal fucking ends to a rivalry I saw was their rivalry culminating at fucking No Mercy in 04.
Him and Billy Kidman, right?
Yeah, him and Billy Kidman. That was one of the most brutal fucking splits, and they were fucking tight, bro. Eventually, Kidman just started showing up. He refused to do the shooting star press. Do something like that. Have them build and make it mean something more. And then pull the trigger. Not immediately.
So, Danny,
and I feel like
how
that's
do you
just
feel
bad
about
booking.
this?
I'm in the minority, man. I actually don't mind it. I feel like they've been around long enough. They've been in WWE before Roman. People forget how long the Usos have actually been in the WWE on sort of a high level.
Yeah, because with the main roster, they debuted in 2010.
That's a long time. Roman didn't come until 2011, 2012
with the Shield.
So I just feel like this is the only direction that they could have gone currently. What are they gonna do? Have them still team, but Jay is going solo? What's Jimmy gonna do? Like I feel like if this is one of those situations, if they didn't do it now,
Today, Junior.
if they didn't do it now, then it was never gonna happen. And I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that. What if? Obviously, we don't know. We're recording this the day before SmackDown. You guys will see it on Saturday, so we're not sure what is going to be being said tomorrow night. To why we're not mentioning it here. But I feel like I've heard a lot of people mention like maybe Jimmy isn't necessarily trying to realign himself with the bloodline, but he saw what this power and this notoriety did to his cousin. Turned him into somebody that nobody wants to associate with. Maybe he doesn't want that for Jay. Maybe he doesn't want that for his brother. He wants, he saw what being the tribal chief did to Roman. He doesn't want the same outcome for Jay. And that is, we have to take into account that is a
Wow.
very real possibility.
Wow, Danny. That is probably the greatest take I've ever heard from you on this podcast, and it took 69 episodes. Wow. I got to give you a round of applause. Actually, no, I'm going to acknowledge you real quick. I have
acknowledge
to.
me.
For once in my life. That was a really good take. I'm very impressed with the way you said that. And the context, it does make a lot of sense, what you were saying. And honestly, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens here with Jimmy and Jay. Here's how I feel about the booking decision. I think that it's long overdue. These two have accomplished everything as a tag team, especially with the bloodline. They became more relevant. They had the longest, tag team title run out there. They even main evented a night at WrestleMania defending those titles. It doesn't get bigger than that. First time ever the tag team championships being defended on a main event of WrestleMania. And they accomplished everything that they could. And honestly, for a while, even Ben and myself, we've been saying it. Man, main event Jay. We want main event Oos. And honestly, if they're going to do this, now is the time. Jay looks incredible, I think, especially when Jimmy was on the sideline back in 2020. Jay really stepped up during the Thunderdome era, and he shocked a lot of people. And through time, it's built to this moment. And I think now is the time to really push Jay into maybe the mid-card title picture and eventually could be a world champion, in my opinion. I love what they did here, but the only thing that's going to confuse me is if Jimmy on SmackDown, which you guys will already know what happened if you watch it. We're recording this, the day before SmackDown. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think Jay turned on Jimmy because of jealousy. And I think that
Reverse. Jimmy turned on Jay.
Yes, you're right. Jimmy turned on Jay due to jealousy. And my only problem with this is if Jimmy goes back to the bloodline, because that super kick to Roman at Night of Champions wouldn't matter, I feel like.
That's why it would make a lot more sense for
Jimmy's on his own.
Jimmy to have him screw him out of this match with Roman to save Jay from turning into what Roman has become.
Yeah, I could see that.
Very true. But now, the fun part that we love to do here on the We Are Wrestling podcast, how would you book this feud? Fantasy booking,
man.
So,
fun.
I want their first bout to be big, explosive, and then I want Jay to sell a massive injury, but not actually be injured. I want him actually to enjoy some time with his family, get in some peak fucking shape, and really kickstart a huge feud. Have him come back at the Rumble and eliminate Jimmy. Have him come back and have him have the most massive fucking pop you could possibly get, because I'm talking months off. Like, have this happen. If they end up going at Payback, let it happen. If they end up going at it at fucking this pay-per-view in India, have them do it. Have them do it at Fastlane.
It's not a pay-per-view in India. It's going to be a house show that they're going to record and eventually just release.
Okay. Regardless, have it happen somewhere where there's a couple months in between where this dude can just take some time off and, again, work on himself, have some time with family, do his own thing, have him come back, at the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble is everything. Let also Jimmy do some solo shit just to get him ready for his solo run. And then continue the story when fucking Jay comes back at the Rumble. That is gonna have a lot of momentum. And then if you really want to bring it to Mania, you can in a good pace.
So,
Now the only
Danny,
thing,
how
the
would
only
you book
thing,
this?
how I would book this is obviously I would have them have their match at Payback. My only thing here is because the Rumble isn't till January. How long would we want Jay to be off of television?
At
I
least
don't
3
think
months.
I don't think it should be any longer than that. So
Yeah,
I
at
would
least
say
3 months.
I wouldn't necessarily have him because we have Payback in September, we have Fastlane in July. I
So
wouldn't
maybe Survivor
July?
Series.
I
Wait,
wouldn't.
Fastlane in July?
I mean, Fastlane in
October?
You're
October.
fucking months, man.
I know.
Fuck.
I'm fucking I'm half asleep.
Episode 69.
Yeah. So I'm 69 and my brain doesn't work.
Touch yourself, 69. Ooh, pornscape. Sorry.
Oh my goodness, it feels good.
Scissor me, daddy ass.
I wouldn't have Jay taken out until July. So I would have him go these next couple of months, build
October! Fuck!
I
My God. Fuck.
So, July is the new October, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the new August, apparently, too. This fucking guy.
mean,
Jesus Christ.
I need to go back to school.
You need Jesus,
Yo,
son.
You know who needs to teach Danny? Matt Stryker.
Yes. Not Michelle
Yes.
McCool.
Not Michelle
man.
McCool.
You don't deserve
Oh,
Michelle
man.
McCool.
Oh man.
Matt Stryker.
All right,
Oh. So I would have Jade.
Hey,
Taken out.
I do gotta add a funny context too.
Okay.
Matt Stryker needs to teach him. Danny, you're not ready to go to Andre Chase University.
Oh my God.
So I would have Jade taken out in January at Survivor Series, and I would have
January? Dude, are you serious?
Yeah, he's
That-
not going to Andre Chase University anytime soon.
that one was just to fuck you guys up. November.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
All right, I'll let you continue.
I would have Jay taken out in November at Survivor Series. I would kind of have Solo Sikoa do it, almost like how he took out Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's
I
definitely
can't
possible.
see any other way logistically that it could happen, and it would still work because Solo Sikoa is the Usos' brother.
So here's how I would book this. I would want, Jimmy versus Jay at Payback. They can, have a regular match to start off. Then you could have them skip Fastlane if you really want to, or you can have them go against each other, but add a stipulation involved with their match, like maybe a steel cage, so that none of them can escape.
Steel Cage in November at Survivor Series, man.
No, I'm going to get into Survivor Series. Here's what I want to happen at the Survivor Series. I want a fatal four-way match for the WWE Universal World Championship. Roman Reigns versus Jimmy versus Jay versus Solo. And then in that match, that's where I would have Jimmy attack Jay and injure him so that he's on the sideline until the Royal Rumble. And then I would build their feud until WrestleMania.
But how would you explain the breakup between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa? Solo Sikoa seems like he's the only one in the bloodline besides Paul Heyman that's really had his back.
So with this match happening, Jimmy and Jay, because they're going to be off on their own, they're going to want to get a shot at Roman because they both are now single competitors. They want to, win that championship. And Solo Sikoa is going to see that. And I think that's where, the match will be lined up. I think Solo and Roman are still going to be aligned with each other, but there's going to be even more cracks going into Survivor Series because you have to think about it. The way that they brand Survivor Series has always been like a team type of thing. It was always like a Raw versus SmackDown. We even had, one year with NXT involved. And even last year, we had the War Games match. This year, you could build that show around this fatal four-way match for the title, because now Roman Reigns has to deal with not just a normal rival, he has to deal with his blood, his family. And I think Solo Sikoa being in this match, we can really crack Solo and Roman, and that's where we can get that match at the Royal Rumble with Solo versus Roman. Because at that point, that's where they'll break up, is the Survivor Series. Jimmy will take out Jay, whether it's before the match or, during the match. Jay can be, injured on the sidelines, because I do want that Royal Rumble pop. When Jay comes out, the crowd goes electric.
I would
He
have
throws
Jay have
Jimmy
new
out.
music too.
They both need new music. I agree. But man, there's so many possibilities here with the Uso storyline. And honestly, I'm excited. I'm all for it. I just think that Roman, if he's not going to wrestle until Survivor Series, the only thing that makes sense for him logically is a match against Jimmy, Jay, and even Solo. Because you can't do the tag match. You have to have Roman defend the title at Survivor Series.
My only concern with that is if he doesn't end up showing up on TV until around November, which is the same month as Survivor Series. How would they work around this story with having only like 2-3 weeks to build it between Solo and Roman and Jay? Well, Jay and Jimmy, that's obviously already established. But the split between Solo and Roman, that's my concern.
I feel like Roman is still going to be on TV. He's just not going to wrestle. But it's not going to be consistently. He's going to show up, like he usually does, like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think, towards Survivor Series, he'll be on TV regularly. And I think right now, the main thing on SmackDown is going to be Jimmy versus Jay.
I mean,
But I
need
agree with
something,
Ben.
man.
I agree with Ben. We need to have Jimmy. We need to have Jay on the sideline for the Rumble. We need that pop. Because
We need it, man.
this match deserves to be a WrestleMania match. 100%.
Yep.
But is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we close off this episode?
No.
Bro,
we killed it.
We killed it, man. We knocked it out of the park, man. Hit a fucking home run.
That's right, except we're not in the third inning here. We're at the 9th inning.
And this is one of our longest episodes, so I mean I wouldn't have had it any other way with it being episode 69.
Well, here's the thing, Danny. You haven't really been on the podcast, and the episodes have been going on pretty long. I think our record episode was 2 weeks ago. It was me and Ben. I think we had a 2-hour episode, which is
killing it,
absolutely
man.
nuts, man. But to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that are listening, that are watching this, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered on this week's episode 69 of the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just a 5-star review, but a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're watching this, if you enjoyed it, smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Ben, Danny, and myself on our social medias and other YouTube pages, all that down below. In addition, you want more additional content, go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. We're posting clips over there. Follow us over there at We Are Wrestling. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.